Welcome, everybody. It's another exciting edition of the Sports Hole. I'm your host, Luke. With me, as always, XFL Jim, rock and roll, Matty Goldberg. What's going on, dudes?
What's up, boys? We're almost through the first month of the year.
That's right. It's insane.
Means my birthday's coming up.
When's your birthday?
Ooh.
Saturday. It's the 1st.
Oh,
shit.
my younger sister's the 2nd. My other is the 11th.
Oh, wow.
My girlfriend's the 10th.
We know when your parents like to bone.
Yeah, Groundhog's Day.
But yep, I turned 31.
You know, when you live out in LA, you never have to worry about Groundhog's Day.
That's true. Gotta worry about it here.
In Nebraska, you probably do.
Actually, today it was a beautiful, it was up to 62 today.
It's warmer there than it is here.
It was absolutely gorgeous.
Well, awesome.
Did it rain there today, Maddie?
What's up?
Did it rain today? There?
It rained on Saturday and Sunday a lot.
It did. Okay. It rained
and then
a
they're
little
like,
bit here.
well, it's not the best thing because now we're going to have mudslides. So
they just need to get them fires out first.
Yeah.
So we'll deal with that other shit later.
Yeah.
But it did rain, and it rained on me on Sunday because I was sad.
What?
I was really sad on Sunday.
Oh, you mean rain metaphorically?
I don't think I've been mad at a football game for really fucking mad. But I was mad for the Bills-Chiefs game. I was mad.
You weren't the only one, Matty. There was a lot of people online that were very, I'll use the term irate.
You want to know something about the NFL, which is so shitty about them? So they put out a 10-minute highlights on YouTube of the Chiefs-Bills game. And I'm going to the comments, and I'm like, for sure, because obviously it's trending about how bad the officiating is. There was not one comment about the officiating. And it was like, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. These two are great. Another great game between two of them, And I'm like.
In the actual YouTube comments?
What?
They could be. They could very, it wouldn't be much for the NFL to be able just to scrub comments.
There was
have
not
an
one
intern
about the
doing
officiating. There was not one.
Oh, man.
Think about that.
It's really funny. I watch because I'm usually at work, so I'll watch on the illegal streams, and they're always like, ref is biased, and they spell it Buyest, and it just becomes a fucking joke.
Are we crazy? Are we nuts about these calls? Or is this am I insane?
So for me, it's a combination of two things. I don't think the Chiefs get more calls than other teams, but I think the calls they do get are more consequential.
Yes.
And also they're a really good team, so every call they get, they capitalize on it hard. Yes. So I think those two factors go into making it very, very, very annoying.
So we're going to talk about the 4th and inches, and in my opinion, the way to beat the Chiefs is, I was talking to Luke before we started, is you got to bury them. You got to keep at least a 2-score game, but you got to bury them. So when the Bills are up 22-21, they're driving to hopefully score another touchdown and pretty much make it an 8-point game, which it's hard to get a 2-point conversion. So that is huge. And to have them lose that drive and have the momentum shift, I knew they were in a lot of fucking trouble, because not only they control the clock, they control the ball, they control the game. And it was taken away from them on a call that, I was talking to Luke, I'm like, we don't even know what the refs called it before, because one ref called it short, one ref called it way past the line. They just said he didn't get past it, and there's 20 replays where he clearly got past it.
Can I also just mention on the not ref side, why can't other teams run the tush push like Philly can?
Well, that's
Buffalo kept trying to do it.
They did not run it right.
It was terrible.
Quarterback sneaks, what they were doing. Not tush push. Quarterback sneaks, and it wasn't working.
I don't know why they kept running it.
I was watching that, and I think the only way to really stop it, the thing is Philadelphia
ban the
knows
play.
they're doing it. So everybody is pushing Hurts, right? So you
Yeah.
almost need the same thing with like the linebackers and the defensive backs. But the problem is you got to sort of stay off in case they do a trick little fake. But you have to completely sell out. So you're getting more people pushing on the offensive side than you are on the defensive side.
Yeah, and they need to ban the play. Like we saw it in the Eagles game, how ridiculous it got because Washington is like, look, we can't stop it. So we're just gonna try to jump off sides and just get lucky and get the right snap count because that's our only hope is to jump it. And if we don't jump it,
yeah,
what does it matter? It's a 2-inch penalty.
Yeah, they need Troy Polamalu back. He could.
Well, it almost mattered, Matty, because remember they introduced that new rule that has been around since like the 40s, apparently. The what was it called?
You can't push a guy.
It was like if you keep getting the same like the penalty over and over and over again. I forget what they actually called,
but jumping the snap. Or
well, it doesn't matter.
But they were going to award Philadelphia a touchdown.
It's some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, it's something like that.
But it doesn't matter. You still got to do it because they're going to get a touchdown anyway.
I kind of wish you would have done it one more time.
Breaks their neck, they're gonna.
Yeah, you can't do it because, like, okay, it's all in the push. Like, what I think they should do is instead of trying to leap over, line up right behind your defensive lineman and push their ass. Actually, maybe even grab like some backup defensive linemen and just have them push their ass instead of like some scrawny linebacker. Like they're all pushing and you're not pushing. You're leaping. When you're leaping through the air, you don't have anything behind you. You got to knock somebody out with your leap. Does this make sense?
It does.
Does this make sense? Am I making sense?
It's a reverse tush push.
Yeah.
Yes, you do the anti.
I just feel like they should ban the play. I really do. Not this week because I want the Eagles to win really bad. Even though I hate the Eagles, I still like them more than the Chiefs. But after this year, it's a stupid play. It's a very dangerous play for them trying to act like they're like. It's funny. It's like some things they'll care about, like the kickoffs are too dangerous. Well, let's have a one more game a year. And like, let's have this most dangerous play of like necks just going into each other and this collision of bodies that it isn't like somebody's neck is going to get snapped eventually.
If they do add another game, I think I'm okay with it if they add another bye week, which I think they would have.
Well, they look, they know like with fantasy football and everything, it's like, it's great, but the ratings have been down this year. I think people are tired of the Chiefs. I think the way the refs have been doing this, like it's like when you hate a team, you can be biased, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, is it because I hate the Chiefs so much, or is everybody seeing what I'm seeing, or is it just a bunch of like haters that hate the team that's the dynasty right now, like is butthurt because they win all the time?
I mean, that obviously plays a huge factor in it. The fact that they do, I think there's like three factors for the Chiefs hate.
Yeah.
A, they win all the time, and no one loves that.
Yes.
B, this is like an age of social media where they are like the Chiefs are in your face all the time. And like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are doing commercials all the time. So you're seeing them all the time. Like with the Patriots dynasty, I didn't feel like obviously I hated it and everyone hated the Patriots, but they weren't like in your face. There wasn't as big a Twitter. There wasn't stuff like that. They weren't in your face like they are now.
I think and no one, I mean, like it's weird because like Brady was married to a model, but it just didn't. A model who just was in the model world. You didn't see her outside.
Social media just wasn't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I think like Travis Kelce is obviously not as likable as Gronk. Like there's something about Kelce that bothers people. Maybe they're jealous because he goes out with Taylor Swift, but he comes off as a real pompous douche sometimes. Whereas Gronk was like a lovable airhead.
Also true.
And then Brittany Mahomes, now she's crying about Buffalo fans who are the best fans in football, for sure. And
That's
and
another
bar
thing though,
none.
Matty. If like social media didn't exist, you would barely know who Brittany Mahomes is.
Yeah. But I'm saying like she has put herself out there this
Yeah,
week, making it about her and her husband. It's like, do you not think people wrote things about Tom Brady and said disgusting things? Like that's the world we're in. Like all these guys are getting death threats. All these guys are having stuff sent to them that's like ungodly, disgusting. We live in a disgusting world. You can't go after Bills fans for one idiot, and like, who cares? It's Kermit the Frog. They don't want your husband hung. They've been hanging Dan Marino and all these players for years. It's like that's what happens in sports. So there's that, and then there's Taylor Swift, which they somehow took her off the screen all game. I think people are just so tired of her nonsense.
Maddie, do you think you could possibly be behind the Chiefs if it weren't for Taylor Swift?
No,
I feel like that was your breaking point.
no,
Like,
no.
I feel like he was anti-Chiefs before. I feel like there was a big tipping point last year
look,
where
it's
2 years ago.
Look, I rooted for them the first Super Bowl, and
I think everyone did.
And that's like, I remember people rooted for the Patriots in 2001, and then when you win too much, people get sick of you, and they're like, okay, we want to see other fan bases do it, and like, you want to see those Buffalo fans happy. You want to see Josh Allen get what he deserves because the guy plays so hard. Hell, I'd like to see Lamar Jackson gets what he deserves because he plays so hard. But it just seems like, okay, these calls that are like these 50-50 calls that are so important that make or break a game, they're all going to the Chiefs. And that 4th and inches, that is the game because the Bills are doing exactly what they need to do to win. You have to hold the ball, you got to take clock, and you got to be up by 2 scores. And if they keep driving, they're most likely going to get another touchdown and be up by 8, and then everything changes.
They still almost had a chance, though. If Kincaid doesn't drop that ball.
Yeah, but like, again, you are not going to beat the Chiefs in a 1-score game. You're just not. You have to beat the shit out of them the Bucs destroyed them, and that's how you beat them. You destroy their spirit.
I think the Niners were like up on them early too in those games, and they just took their foot off the pedal.
Yeah.
I think Philadelphia can do that though.
I think, look, if Philadelphia, if nobody gets hurt in the game,
and
like last year, Fred Warner got hurt in the Super Bowl, who was the 49ers second best defender, changed the game. So like, you just are like, is somebody gonna get hurt on the Eagles? Is Barkley gonna get hurt?
I feel like it'll just be a huge defensive battle.
I don't know. I mean, Saquon Barkley is on fire, and
he's killing it.
And if Hurts is healthy with him running, the Eagles on paper are a better team, but Mahomes is the better quarterback.
Well, they have the number 1 defense too.
And then also you go into a 1-score game, you just know the Chiefs are going to find a way to win, and they're going to get a call to win.
And I feel like at least 2 or 3 times a game, Spags is going to dial up like the perfect call on defense.
That's fine and all, but again,
and it'll stuff them.
But my point is, if it's that situation, you can only win by kicking the shit out of them. So it doesn't really matter if the game's close. The Chiefs are going to win.
What is the spread right now?
But I was sick. I was sick and I was angry. I was literally fucking angry all fucking night.
1.5 currently is the spread.
And Chiefs, a friend of mine is like,
Chiefs minus 1.5.
Wow.
He goes, why do you care so much? I go, I don't know why. I really don't. Nobody in Buffalo knows me. None of the Bills know me. None of the Chiefs know me.
Is it your inner Patriots fan wanting to protect the dynasty?
There's part of that.
I was about to say,
but
Three-peat. Hey,
Maddie, you're
No,
like that's how I
the
am with
thing,
Ryan Reynolds. By the way,
the thing is though about
just
it is
can't stand the guy.
oversaturation again.
always
Right?
root for it's just natural to always root for the underdog sometimes. I want to see some fresh new blood and see like those. I'd love to see those Bills fans like cry with tears to get to the Super Bowl. And the window is closing. And I said to fire Sean McDermott, I said he could only get you this far. Of course, they're not going to fire him. They're going to have him the whole Josh Allen. I only give Josh Allen 3 more years. Cam Newton died really fast.
I feel like Josh Allen's changed his game enough that he's not doing the whole Cam Newton
he's taking hits, man.
He's taking hits, but I feel like I trust Josh Allen to change his game more than I did Cam Newton.
Look, he's the closest thing to how Cam Newton played for about 3 or 4 seasons, and I really believe that Cam Newton was essentially a running back throwing the ball, and like running backs only last 4 years.
What's your window on Lamar then?
Lamar doesn't take as many hits as Lamar has a different running style. Like Lamar gets out in space.
Like Vic. He's like Vic.
Josh Allen is doing these 1 yard, like in the trenches runs, like he's a running back.
Yeah.
Where Lamar is scrambling, and Lamar does a great job getting down. So Lamar's not taking the type of hits that Cam was like running it on 3rd and 2 to get 2.5 yards. That's the difference I see. Whereas Josh Allen's doing the same thing, where Lamar is like, okay, 2nd and 10. I have space to run. I'm going to run 25 yards and slide. I'll run out of bounds.
Yeah.
I also, just to reiterate, this is the Chiefs have played in 4 of the last 6 Super Bowls now? This year, last year, 2 years ago, and then 4 years ago, and then 5 years ago.
4 of the last 5, I think.
They played in 2020, 2021, 2023, 2024, and now 2025.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's another part of it. It's just we've seen them. We're over it.
I'm not over it, I'll be honest.
I mean, they're very fun to watch, and I love Patrick Mahomes. I've loved Patrick Mahomes for a while. He's always been fun as hell to watch. But I'm over it.
But he loses people when he's diving. When you're diving and everybody sees that you're diving, they're like, in football, there's this admirable thing like you get hit, you get up.
I did see like a whole 3-minute clip of Josh Allen doing almost the identical thing, though. Like the out of bounds stuff, especially. Like very similar.
Fair enough.
Well, I'll say this. Like, I think
that's more on the NFL.
I think it's just a preservation thing. He doesn't have he doesn't have the weapons like other teams have. He doesn't have an explosive running back. He's got some, Xavier Worthy has some talent, but he's,
a rookie.
He's a rookie. And it's just like, so early on when he had Tyreek Hill and stuff and could put up gaudy numbers, it's a whole different thing. And now he's got to work with a lot less. So I think it's just more of a preservation thing for him, just trying to eke out every little yard you can get, including penalty yards.
Leading receiver in the last game was Xavier Worthy with 6 for 85 and a touchdown. Number 2 receiver was Juju Smith-Schuster. So shows you that. I think I'm expecting Travis Kelce to have a huge Super Bowl, by the way, and then retire.
I don't think he'll retire.
I think he's going to retire. And then in the offseason, he'll propose to Taylor Swift.
I think he'll do 1 more year, especially if they win. Why not keep going and see if they can go 1 more year and then he'll retire? But I find him insufferable. I find him a poor man's Gronk.
What do you think of Jason Kelce?
Jason's annoying too. They're both annoying.
Okay, because
without him, I can do it without their mother too.
I need more of the dad.
The dad's never on.
I know we don't know any. The dad's the mystery one.
But I could do without either one of them. Like they're annoying. They're too much tension. They're not interesting. It's like if you're a guy and you curse or you act like you're all kooky and crazy, everybody thinks you're colorful. But
it's the Pat McAfee effect. It's the Pat McAfee effect that
I think the brother would be more. I think I'd be more likable if he wasn't now, in every
Everywhere.
advertisement. He's again oversaturated too. So it's like
That's what I always go
maybe
back
I could
to.
like these guys, but yeah, you don't. I mean, I understand the career's short, so you got
Yeah.
it. But their podcasts, if you're a popular podcast, you make a lot of money too.
By the way, who are these podcasts are covering? Kylie Kelsey's podcast.
Oh, I've
She's
seen
got a
that.
podcast now.
I saw.
Is that Jason's wife?
And it's like,
Yeah.
and she started out with like, I'm not a podcaster. I don't like attention. I don't want any attention.
Then she saw. Then
You're
she
like,
saw
why
some
are you
money
doing a
coming in.
fucking
You guys,
podcast?
I've determined. I think fame might be the worst drug.
Remember when that whole
I think
fucking,
so too.
was it Prince Harry and Marla, what's her name?
Meghan
Like I
Markle.
saw the trailer of their Netflix show, and they're like, the paparazzi's following us. Like, we have no privacy. It's so hard to live the way we do. There's no privacy. So why are you doing a fucking Netflix show? Go in the fucking woods and live in the woods so nobody bothers you. Why are you doing a fucking Netflix?
Right. Stop hanging out with a bunch of Hollywood people and presidents and stuff. Get the fuck out.
Exactly.
But no, like Elon
you don't
Musk,
have to
right?
live that way.
Guy who's brought a lot of cool stuff to this planet, this country, and it's just like it's like fame has turned him into some fucking insane
Whack
dude.
job.
Like he just can't get enough attention, and he'll do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think attention might be the worst drug.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna get all COVID political, but maybe
Oh,
the
back
best
Do
to
it,
COVID,
Maddie. We
baby.
don't have a lot of sports this
maybe
week.
the best thing Aaron Rodgers ever did was calling Travis Kelce Mr. Pfizer. I love that.
That was funny.
Mr. Pfizer.
Mr. Pfizer.
What'd you think of the other game though? We didn't even talk about
Look,
Eagles Commanders.
This is what I'll say about it. Like if you're a Washington fan, it's like you just go, hey, we had a great season. Let's hope we build on it. Nothing more to say. We overachieved. We got as far as we could. And I knew it was going to be tough for them because if you play Jalen Daniels, it's hard to play him if you never saw him. But because the Eagles played him twice, and he played great. It wasn't his fault. His team let him down with the turnovers and the fumbles, and nothing he did bad. He played as good as he could play. The Eagles are really fucking good. The Eagles really only lost. They lost a game early in the year, and they lost another game when Hurts got hurt. And that's all they really lost this year.
When Hurts played one of his best games of the season.
Yeah. And if he's peaking, he's better than people think if they can get a couple of big passes to A.J. Brown. But it's like you have to go in this mentality of like, you have to fucking destroy the Chiefs. You can't get in a game with them. You have to just pile on them and spit in their face and piss in their fucking mouth. And I know it's aggressive, but if I'm the coach, I'm like, look, if you want a ring, you have to be nasty. Like you have to out physical them on defense. Like you have to beat the shit out of their receivers. You have to hit Pat Mahomes. You have to fucking let him have it. And America wants to see that. And
some Americans want to see the three-peat.
If you think Bills fans are mean, oh boy.
Yeah.
And refs, if you think like, look, fucking Sean McDermott's a pussy, and the Bills fans are nice, and they donate to the other team, like they donate to other teams' charities to show like how kind they are. But like, Eagles fans aren't going to be that nice. So referees, I ain't saying nothing because I ain't an Eagle fan, but like if I was a ref, I'd be a little more nervous if I want to rig this game. And I hope I'm not getting in trouble by saying that.
Yeah. Are you going to go hang out with Aaron Rodgers?
I'm not talking about me. I'm just saying I don't trust these Eagles fans.
I mean, the Eagles have a fucking killer team, though. Do you think Sirianni gets fired? It's crazy. They were talking about firing him in the middle of the season.
Well, it just shows how important coordinators are, and that's what scares you about the Lions because they lost both their coordinators. So the Eagles 2 years ago had two really good coordinators, lose them both, had shitty ones last year. get ones good this year. They're really good.
It's all about replacing them.
2 pro coordinators that are
Sure.
great and right back to where they were. And also Saquon Barkley is phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Saquon, I mean, you get the offense is built to win. I mean, AJ Brown's like one of my favorite receivers. He's so fucking good.
If the offensive line is healthy, they are so good too.
Yeah, I mean, you got
they were
Saquon best back in the league easily right now. I mean, like,
I think they still have a potential issue at center, but with enough time to get better, they should be all right.
yeah, and they got the number one defense in the league. To me, this is like, it's just basically between them and the Chiefs. You know, wooju. You know,
They have it. The Chiefs have it.
yeah, they do. They just do. And as long as they're hanging around, it's going to be in the back of your head. That final Mahomes drive.
You gotta punish them.
Fox posted the most recent three-peats in football history.
Yeah.
The NFL has the Green Bay Packers from 65 to 67.
What about college football?
Yeah. College football, FBS, Minnesota from 1934 to 1936 is the most recent repeat. And FCS, North Dakota State did it in 2017 to 2019. And then shout out Fox because they included the UFL, the Birmingham Stallions with a three-peat, 2 in the USFL, 1 in the UFL.
Wow.
2022 to 2024.
I think that's a very overlooked dynasty.
I agree. They did fail to mention the Edmonton Eskimos back in the day did a three-peat in the CFL too.
Well, no respect.
Yeah,
I agree.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what did you see out of the Commanders in that game, though? I mean,
defense needs work.
Peaking pretty early.
Defense needs work. They need like an actual running game. Offensive line could also use a little bit of work, but I feel like, the positives are you have Jane Daniels. That's your positive. And I feel like the weapons they have at receiver, like Terry McLaurin, is unleashed. This team is going to be really good. But the negatives are, I feel like 4 years ago we were saying the same shit about the Bengals, and what have they done since?
Right.
What have the Bengals done since their Super Bowl?
Look,
they were in.
They keep getting worse every year.
Exactly. That's the worry.
Listen, when Rex Ryan got Mark Sanchez, first year they make it to the conference game. Second year conference game. Shit the bed after that. So there's no guarantee. There's no fucking guarantees that you will ever get back. But
it's nice being in the NFC. I'll also give them that.
When you go, hey, look what the Bears drafted. Look what we drafted. Look what our coach did this year. Look where we were. If you ask me how many wins does Washington have at the beginning of the year, I would say 6. So they're a team that most people put them at 6 wins, almost made it to the Super Bowl. You gotta, even watching that game for Washington fans, you can be upset, but you can go, hey man, we're on the rise. If we continue to do the right things, we're on the rise. Now, if you're Buffalo, you're like, this fucking window's closing.
I feel like that's just the difference between the NFC and the AFC.
What? I mean, Buffalo's also in a little trap too, because they're playing, deep in the postseason every year. So if they want to get, fire their guy, the cream of the crop's usually taken by now, and it already is.
Yeah.
I don't know who else you would get now if you were to fire McDermott now.
McCarthy, baby, McCarthy.
Belichick.
God. I thought that, I agree. I thought they could have taken Belichick. He would have been perfect too.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, the defense is what's hurting. Joe Brady is great, although I think they should have used James Cook more. They didn't use him enough, and the guy had one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. That was like where you go
magic.
Why we love football is I watch my nephew. He fantasizes all day like he's at the 10. He does that all fucking day. I did that when I was that age. I want to do cool shit. You dream about doing that shit what James Cook did. That was some, as they say, Matrix shit that he did. And that was beautiful. And they didn't he should have got more touches. He was unstoppable.
Yeah. I don't know. It would just seem like at this point, the thing with getting Joe Brady was great, but at this point, it just feels like you're butting your head against the wall. Like you're just coming back with the same shit. All you can do is hope the Chiefs somehow get worse.
And
Yeah.
you can go, well, the Chiefs are going to get worse, but guess what? The Bengals are going to get better. This team is going to get better. The Patriots got a quarterback that can get better. The Chargers,
there's
don't
no
think that Harbaugh is going to rest. They're both Harbaughs. They're going to get better.
On the Harbaugh thing, I do love that like Pete Carroll has to follow Harbaugh everywhere he goes.
I mean, I heard rumors.
I love that. I love rumors, it.
I heard rumors that the Ravens are trying to get Tyreek Hill. So when they put together Lamar, Tyreek, and Derrick Henry with 1 or 2 more years, like they're gonna move up, Like, so for the Bills, like you have these windows that they get close, and it's like if it's not working, I saw this with the Bucks. Tony Dungy was great. They were a shitty franchise, and Dungy took them to the playoffs, and they're like, he can get us to the playoffs, but in the playoffs we die. So they go and they get John Gruden. The next year they win a Super Bowl. Sometimes, and I think Dungy's a great coach, but sometimes you need a guy that like, let's try something to get us over the top because this is not working. And like at this point, for that fan base, for that team, for Josh Allen, for the talent, it's Super Bowl or bust. This was a disappointment because it's like, when you have the ball and it's the fourth quarter and you have the ball and you're up by a point to go to the Super Bowl, you got to fucking figure it out.
I feel like none of those other teams are a wall like Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes are.
I understand, but the Bengals beat the Bills in the playoffs 2 years ago. The Bengals will get better. The fucking, and the Steelers might get better, even though I think they're stuck and they should fire their coach.
Are getting better. I think they got to get rid of that.
But the Bengals and the Ravens are gonna get better. So, like, okay, we got the Chiefs out of the way, but now the Bengals are a monster. Now the Ravens are a monster. So it's like you can't go and go, oh, well, next year the Chiefs will be a lot weaker and we'll finally get in. It don't work that way. It just don't. I've seen teams with windows. It's like, oh, well, they're going to do it. And then 10 years goes by and then the quarterback's gone and then they suck again.
Yeah.
It's the same for the Lions. I'm sorry to say. Last year I was like, okay, well, they'll be back. And then, you lose in the first round. You go, well, hey, man, like next year, like Hutchinson got hurt. Maybe what if Goff gets hurt? What if Jahmyr Gibbs gets hurt? Jahmyr Gibbs is so valuable to that team. If he gets hurt, that team is not the same. So you got to take advantage of your windows. And the Bills aren't. So it's like, get somebody in there that can fucking take the next step.
Well, but it's not happening this year. And
so therefore, I can't feel sorry for him anymore. I just can't. You made your own fucking bed, Buffalo.
They got to do something radical. And it might sting for a minute, but you got to do something.
Look, I was watching that fucking documentary about the Patriots and that real whack job Ernie Adams. They need to do a documentary on Ernie Adams. Do you know who Ernie Adams is?
I don't think so.
Look him up. Ernie Adams is this weirdo guy that was obviously spying. He was like he's like a weird Belichick kind of.
Oh God, he just looks like everything you're describing right now.
Yeah, so he's this weird nerd that Belichick keeps around, and he's like, I'm the football expert. I know more about football than anybody. And like he says, like with Belichick, it's hard, but our fun is when we touch the trophy at the end of the year. And hey, bring in Belichick, see what you can do because this shit ain't working, man. Bring in a coach that maybe has won a Super Bowl already. Like, try something new because McDermott just can't get the job done. And you're wasting a brilliant career, Josh Allen, who none of these games you can ever say, like, he fucking shit the bed. You just can never say that.
No. You're right.
I mean, the game he threw like 5 touchdowns against the Chiefs. What did he do wrong?
I mean, he was a little like gung-ho in the early one, but early in the game, but he was fantastic.
So Josh Allen has averaged 327 yards a game in these 4 losses to the Chiefs, 2.75 TDs and 0.25 turnovers. That's 0.25. So that's less than, that's like nothing.
But
and
I
an
think
average
one
of
game he had
35 points. So it is clearly a defensive issue with the Bills.
And McDermott's a defensive coach that's not getting the job. Every game in the playoffs, they gave up a touchdown on the first drive too. And I was thinking about it. I was like, sure, they got past it the first 2 games. But if they don't give up, if they can stop them on the first drive, that's a whole touchdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's time for a change.
It's like, of course, I'll watch the Super Bowl. Of course, I'll get into it. But I was pissed. And then it brings these feelings of like the dread of having to wait another fucking 8 months for like a full slate of football. Like week 0, I'll get my dick hard when fucking Georgia Tech plays TCU in like Ireland or something, and we act like it's a Super Bowl because it's the first game of the year. I know Jim is excited for that moment.
Maddie, how much you think a ticket to the Super Bowl costs?
Well, you put it on the thing. It's
without looking at the fucking thing.
Sorry. You put it on the rundown.
Well, I didn't know you actually read it.
I would guess $1,000.
What? How much?
If I didn't look at it, I would say 1,000.
1,000. Okay. So it's Jim, did you look?
I already looked.
Because
my guess was going to be.
I guess you guys really do read the rundown. Okay.
No, I mean I saw it when I looked at the rundown earlier. Like I just saw it. My guess was going to be like 10K.
10K. Okay, so last year
I always think
7.
Super Bowls are like expensive as fuck, and I hear like the college football national championships like 3K, 2K, shit like that. God. And I figure the Super Bowl is like the most expensive thing to do.
Yeah, well, it's only $4,600. They're starting at $4,600. Last year they were $7,000. And I'm like, holy shit! How could you? I mean, you have to be mega rich.
That's what, like, it's not fans that go to the Super Bowl. It's all the fucking celebrities and rich assholes.
People who have nothing to do with either team, except Bradley Cooper will be there.
I don't understand it. Like everyone's watching at home. You guys do like a Super Bowl party?
Last few years we've been going over to my buddy's house in LA. We just got to convince him to have another party, and then I'll make my tuna casserole again. Bring it.
We're having a party this year.
But what's funny at those parties though is everybody sits in the living room, and then I sit in the kitchen by myself and watch the game.
Yep.
Yeah, like
it's great because I'm right next to the food.
Yeah.
And then the game's on, and nobody fucks with me.
You want to know something funny about Danny LaBelle? A very large friend of mine that Luke knows.
Yes.
He will go to about 6 Super Bowl parties, and he doesn't even watch the game, but because he loves food, he has them mapped out to where the best food is up front. So he'll go from like where the best food is going to be to the worst.
How does he know? Does he talk to the people and see what they're serving?
I don't know. He must know what's on the menu, but he's done this a bunch of times, and he doesn't know. Like he couldn't tell you one player on any team, but he does. He can tell you what's cooking in every party.
That one party you had a long time ago was really good. That was fucking.
Me and an ex-girlfriend we threw like 2 in a row that were really good, and they were big. But
Jim, what will you do?
My dad will probably do something at his shop, and I'll bring like hot dogs or something.
You gonna bring the old lady?
No, she doesn't care about football. So
you like that?
She gets the day off.
Does she ever say like you watch too much or this or that or like?
Sometimes, just because it's like a year-round thing for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like what you got to do is as soon as the college season's over, you got to do something really nice for her.
Well, what I usually end up doing is during like college and NFL is most of the time I barely watch the NFL.
Yeah.
Because I don't care as much. So I'll have the NFL on while we're cleaning or something, but I'll usually give her Sundays so that I can get the college football Saturdays.
Well, let me ask you guys this: do you prefer like a girlfriend or wife or whatever that would be into football?
I would love it.
Okay.
I've never had it. I've never thought about it. It doesn't bother me one way.
Never met.
I do kind of like that it's something just for me.
Yeah, that's how I like am.
That.
But I'm
I
kind
do
of
like that.
Kind of a lone wolf, anyways.
You know, I used to love Bill Simmons years ago, and somebody had he used to do a mailbag, and somebody had a great suggestion in a letter. They're like, there should be like 2 or 3 weekends where there's no football during the football season, like a full bye, and it's called Save the Marriage Weekend.
Right.
And that's a genius idea.
I think so too.
Yeah, it'd be a good move.
I agree. Like, it's hard. I mean, it's like, I don't watch as much as you guys, but I watch my teams.
It eats up like a whole Saturday.
Oh yeah, but like, you know, but if you got a good matchup, if you like top players or hot young players that are playing, I want to watch it. You know,
football is so big. The girls in my poker league all play fantasy football. They all watch. And then some of them are, she's like, my fantasy football is all gay guys. So it's become so massive that most girls have accepted. And I think I will say the one good T Swift effect, which I'm contradicting because I've been bashing her, is that it's almost made it more acceptable for like, well, T Swift is into it, then I'll let you watch, or like maybe I should give it a try. But because most girls that do like get into it, they realize how fun it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because football is the best thing we've ever done.
You don't go, oh, football is too commercial now. I'm gonna
well, if they really want to like it, like what you're gonna get on Twitter or whatever that X is on the Super Bowl, is you're going to get, everybody's going to tweet about it. So you're going to get people who's never watched a fucking football game chiming in, like on protest. You get the Colin Kaepernick people that come out. They're going to boycott because of Colin Kaepernick. And then you got people that are like, this is dumb. Like, why are the Eagles fans? Why are they green? Like, why does that player do this? Or like, oh, that guy's this. Or like, oh, I'm watching it. Like, so you get all that nonsense.
When I used to work for hostels, we're a national company, and every hostel they want to show this to other, all the foreigners, and they make an event out of it. And this one girl's like, we should not be celebrating this. It causes domestic violence cases rise so much on Super Bowl.
Violence and this and that. Yeah, you deal with that during this week. So to me, like, people are like, oh, you're a big football fan. You must be so excited about the Super Bowl. I'm like, I never am, unless it's my team, because it's like, it signifies, dude, February is a rough month when it's over. That first weekend, like this weekend will be rough. Like, I'll try to bet on some college basketball, but will I really care that much? Probably not. I'll get back into sports when March Madness happens. Like, I love March Madness. But then, like, baseball is like whatever. But then, like, the basketball, NHL playoffs, I'll kind of get into it because I like to gamble a little. But, like, I don't get that blood like football, man. And I know Jim feels the same way. And it's...
Oh, I get it from the UFL, Maddie. Don't you worry. I still get it. I still get it.
Yeah.
I get the rush, dude. I get literally a similar rush from watching the UFL to like any other football. I love it so much.
Well, that's awesome. And I'm happy for you. And I think that's great. I sometimes forget your UFL, XFL.
I'm genuine in my love of it.
No, I believe you. I believe it's real, and I forget about that. But for me, loving college, loving the NFL, knowing that like from September to pretty much December, almost every night I have something to look forward to. And even like on a Tuesday, it's like, oh, I'm footballed out. I need a break. Thursday you got games, Fridays, Friday you got a couple good college games. They had really good Friday college games this year. So
yes,
a lot of Nebraska games.
They were fun.
And it just sucks when it's over. So like, to me, I'll watch the game, but the Super Bowl is not for me. It's for people that don't watch football. They really catered it to people that don't watch football, and that's
No,
fine.
real football lovers, Maddie, live for like
Week
late
3.
October.
Yes. That first LSU fucking Alabama game, the first, Georgia Alabama game, Michigan versus, the first real game they have. And then in the NFL, it's like week 3 is just as exciting as the coming down the stretch.
All the everything get like all the systems getting like figured out and like into place. It's
And
the
your
mid-season
fantasy
is
team, you
perfect.
find out what your fantasy team's about, whether you're gambling. It's great.
I love it.
So
and
we had
now
some
it's
sad news
yeah.
over the weekend. An 18-year-old Philadelphia Eagles fan is in a coma with a brain injury after he fell off a street pole while he was celebrating.
Grease the
That's why they
poles.
grease those poles.
Yeah. Well, this was just a NFC championship game, and they were in the streets like they won the Super Bowl.
That's another worry I have for the Eagles.
I mean, they're gonna riot either way.
Yeah.
They're
like Toronto.
But yeah.
Where's that Vancouver? I forget.
So imagine somebody's asking about your kid, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he fell off a street lamp celebrating a conference championship, and now he's almost."
There's
dead.
always something that happens every year, something like this. It's really sad. I don't really have much to add. I don't want to make a joke about it. I hope he gets better.
Ugh,
but people
terrifying.
I know kids, you're trying to be funny. You're trying to impress everybody. You do dangerous stuff like 100 times, that 1 out of 100, this will happen, but you could be the one time it happens. So
yeah,
please, kids, you storm the field, you do this, you do that. It's like the kid that jumped off the fucking carnival ship and sharks ate him a few years ago or whatever. I'm sure he was like, let me do this. I'll impress all the chicks, blah, blah, blah. And it sucks.
So in positive news, the Ravens fans have donated to a charity in honor of Dalton Kincaid, who dropped that pass.
There's a mutual hatred of the Chiefs that
is this like a good thing, or is this sort of just passive aggression?
No, because
they did. They did it with Mark Andrews first, right?
Yeah, the Bills do it first,
right? But then, I feel like doing it in a player's name that is fucked up I would not want that.
It's a little. I mean, it's like you're doing something good, but it is a little passive aggressive.
It comes from a good place. I'll tell you why.
I don't think it does.
I'll tell you why.
Not like doing it in the team's name, maybe, but like the specific player that definitely fucked up.
There's some hater energy.
I disagree because last year the Bills, Tyler Bass missed that easy field goal for the Bills, and they did it for their own player. So it does come from the right place.
I wouldn't want that.
So where the Bills fans could have absolutely wrote him out of town, he had a big, he was like a cat or a dog guy. They donated a lot of money to his charity. And I think that meant a lot to him because I knew he felt sick about missing a big kick.
All right, maybe if it's your team, I guess. I don't know, but still.
So I don't think the Bills did it to be dicks. I just think the Bills fans did it to be like, hey, man, we knew you were, you had a shitty game and you're not a terrible game. The guy, this happens. And I think the Ravens wanted to pay it back. And I don't think there's any malice on either side. I think there's hatred mutually for the Chiefs for both those teams. So
Manny, if you had a girlfriend and she cheated on you and stuff, would you want me to donate in your name?
No, but this is
right.
Football.
You're humiliated. But hey, I'm donating for charity.
But that's apples and oranges to me. But
I don't know. I don't want that extra attention if I already am getting negative attention anyway. So
I don't think the Bills did it to be shitty to Mark Andrews, and I don't think Ravens fans did it to be shitty to Dalton Kincaid. That's all I'll stand by.
So we had a lot of coaching hires this week. Marty's kid, Brian Schottenheimer, to the Cowboys.
He was already there. Like that's the only reason he got hired. He was there.
It's so weird that how Jerry Jones won't like. There's a type of coach he gets that like. I remember Marty when he was the OC of the Jets. He's a very nice guy. He's a mild mannered guy, but he's not a hog the spotlight guy. He's not a like I'm the man guy. It's almost as like Jerry Jones hired Jimmy Johnson, and then like I'll lose before I hire another guy that hogs the spotlight.
I was gonna say like he had his most
very
success with guys who were like
there's a very low percentage of this that is smiles and glory holes.
There he is talking about smiles and glory holes.
Well,
no fucking sense at all. I think a glory hole actually used to mean like if you hit a well, like a gusher in oil drilling.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know that's not what it's used for nowadays.
No, he means it the other way. He means it the other way, Luke. He knows what he's
just
saying.
Straight talking about glory holes.
I think he could get away with it if he's like, oh, I didn't know, but he knows. He knows.
I saw him on an episode of Landman, and he was really good. Actually,
I heard he actually like did a good job on the show.
He did. I mean, they just had him come in and kind of do one thing and make this sort of speech, and he felt very authentic and very real. He's talking to John Hamm's character about, living a good life and taking care of the people around you.
How old is Jerry Jones?
Jerry Jones is like 83 or something.
Yeah, he's 82. He'll be 83 in October. Like, I don't know, man. He's kind of losing it for me.
Yeah, I mean, he should just step aside. I think that's pretty obvious. All right, Pete Carroll to the Raiders.
No, I don't.
I actually kind of love it. I kind of love it, actually. I kind of love it.
I don't understand it, but whatever.
Dude, Pete Carroll has the energy.
You're going to groom somebody to take over.
You think he still does coke or something?
He looks great, though.
He looks fit. That's what I was going to say. He looks
48. I have no energy.
If we're talking about like Bill Belichick going to a job, I think Pete Carroll's a good move. I think it's a good hire.
Definitely. And again, I would, groom one of his coordinators to be a successor for sure.
I think if you're going with an old coach, you can't get much better.
We have Aaron Glenn to the Jets.
I like it, but there's no guarantee, but he's familiar with the Jets. He knows what he's getting into. First round pick of the Jets in the 90s. Undersized cornerback, overachieved first round pick. Just hope he does well. I like that he wants to keep Rodgers. I like that they have some nice young new blood, and I root for him really hard.
I'm cool if the Jets are just bad forever myself, but it's fine.
Possibly. The Jags have fired Trent Baalke so they could get Liam Cohen.
They should have just fired him right away. Like, I don't know why they decided to try and keep him around.
Yeah, I think these owners are always trying to save face.
Does he go down in history as a head coach in the NFL?
What? Who?
Because he never played a game.
Who?
What are you
talking about? Baalke.
He was the GM.
Oh, okay. They got rid of him so they could
Yeah. Like,
all right.
Liam Cohen in their initial interview didn't like Trent Baalke.
Yeah, he was going back to the Bucs.
So he was going to go back to the Bucs.
Yeah.
It almost
had a handshake deal with the Bucs, and then the Jags fire Baalke and get him back.
You're a Bucs OC. You become a head coach. You do very good. The guy for Carolina was great.
Canales, yeah. Cliff Kingsbury staying with the Commanders.
Good move for him. I think he's better as a coordinator.
Yeah. And you know what? The thing is like Dan Quinn, he stayed a couple extra years with Dallas, and he could have got a job 2 years ago. But sometimes you're like, you know what? Like being in the fire so fast after being in the fire, you need a little respite. So there's no desire to come right back and like, hey, you could be in the Super Bowl next year. I mean, Washington, no guarantee, but Jalen Daniels, it looks like he might be the next guy.
So there's one team left that doesn't have a head coach, right? It's just the Saints.
Saints, yeah, that's right. That's what Kingsbury was spurned the Saints. The Saints were interested in him, and he's like, "Nah, fuck that."
It's gonna be McCarthy. It's gonna be McCarthy.
It's like it's a tough job because it's kind of like the Patriots where they kind of hired Mayo as a bridge guy. So it's like if you're getting hired, you're almost like a bridge guy because they don't have a lot of resources to get good. Like you're not like, well, do we have a?
Are they the worst team for cap space?
Yes, and you just look at their quarterbacks. You're like, oh, can we go far with Derek Carr? Can we go far with Rattler or the other kid? I mean, you just are like, well, what do they have? Like certain jobs, you're like, well, we have this and this, so I can work with it. But the Saints seem like they're not god awful, but they don't have a lot to work with.
There's one more coaching move you forgot to mention.
Vrabel?
No, we talked about Vrabel, I think, a few weeks ago, but in the European League of Football, the Paris Musketeers got Jack Del Rio.
Oh, that slipped. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
I love that move though.
My wife woke me up to announce that.
Yeah, little Jack Del Rio action back in coaching.
He's a good coach.
Yeah, he's weird. He where did he coach at the Vikings?
Jacksonville, the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of DC jobs.
I felt like he had some success, and then
he did with Jacksonville.
Yeah. He's pretty good at Jacksonville.
Yeah, hell of a linebacker though. All right, college football is just flexing to no end now. Now, Penn State has bought Jim Knowles from OSU for about $3.4 million a year. This is just to be a defensive coordinator. And that could get up over $4 million with a bonus.
First Penn State win against Ohio State in like 6 years.
Yeah, and one without controversy too. No,
I think Knowles won it out. I
remember when these coordinators made less than $1 million. It didn't feel like that was that long ago.
Do you guys feel like it's a bubble? Do you guys feel like it's gonna? Because I was listening to a couple college football podcasts, and they were speculating if things stay similar or the same, it might make more sense for the schools and the boosters and whatnot to spend more money on players and less on coaches.
Yes and no. I don't know. I think Harbaugh's that Michigan team that won was one of the few to win without a top 5 recruiting class. So if you do have a good coach and he can develop, 3-4 star players, you can win with that.
True.
So I'm still a big coach guy, especially in football. But who knows? It could go either way.
It feels like coaching salaries in college football, especially, are just crazy.
Yeah,
they are. There's no doubt. But all of this too is going to. They're gonna get rid of the NCAA at some point, and they're just gonna form their own league, and then you're gonna start to see salary caps and shit like that. Mm-hmm. That will happen probably not anytime in the next 5 years or so, but it's going to happen. It's just what's cool about football is that you don't have just 32 teams. You have freaking how many teams?
134, I believe.
134.
I believe it was 134 last year. More coming in. I think there might be 1 or 2 more adding this year. I think Delaware is getting added too.
Weirdly spread things out. So even a small school could just go all in on one quarterback or something like that.
I do think this kind of shows Penn State's kind of going all in for next year.
They should too.
They can return a lot. They need a couple receivers. I trust that they can reload on defense because they've always Penn State. I think for Franklin's entire tenure has been really good on defense for the most part. Yeah. I think they'll reload, and getting Knowles is a good move. They just kind of need Drew Aller to improve. They need to get some receivers that can actually catch a football.
I do think this is a blow to Ohio State because I think Knowles was really good.
I think he was gone either way, though.
You think so? Why?
It sounded like there was a lot of friction on the staff between him and other members. I think he wanted out.
Oh, interesting.
So I probably a huge blow. I also trust Ohio State to find someone who's really good at being a DC.
Yeah, they'll just go get,
there was a slight rumor of Chip Kelly wanting maybe something too.
Oh, really?
I think if Chip Kelly goes anywhere, he might go be like an OC in the NFL for a little bit and then try for like an NFL coaching job. I think he's done being a head coach in college.
Yep.
That's funny. I wonder what's going on that is driving him so nuts.
I think Kelly just wants to be back in the NFL maybe because it's like he would probably I'd see him being a head coach in college, but he hates recruiting.
Sure.
Like he hates recruiting.
Well, they're getting to the point now where these coaches are not going to be doing the bulk of the recruiting anyways. They will have like salespeople.
Well, one thing he's got to learn is
for
in the NFL, you can't go fast. You got to go slow, or you got to mix it up, because when he tried to go fast, his defense was just.
I watched something. I think I mentioned this before, and I got to track down this video again where somebody was pointing out that his offense works really well in college. Well, it was before everybody was doing it too.
There was a lot of rules at the time too that helped.
Yeah, it was like something to do with the hash marks too. Like I don't know, some bullshit. Sounds stupid.
Like when he started, it was before the refs also like waited, like subbing and stuff like that. That was a little different back then too, where you could catch the defense on like rotating guys in and out.
Yeah. No, he exploited a lot of rules for sure.
Him and Art Briles, dude, the way they did offense, like Art Briles, scumbag, supreme,
great guy.
But the offense, way better football coach than human being. We'll say that.
Great guy, wonderful.
All right, another sad event. Someone was killed at a track and field event.
With a javelin.
The hammer from the hammer throw hit a spectator. Just done.
Damn, son.
I
was reading that they're like what, 7 kilograms?
Are you like doing metric system?
That's what it said on the thing. So 7 kilos is what, like 32 pounds or something
America,
like that?
baby. We don't do that shit here.
Yeah, Jim, get the fuck out of this.
I'm saying what the article said.
I'm going to get you deported. Sir.
Did the article say pounds?
16 pounds.
Okay.
7, which is like, if that's being flung at you, think of how much just a golf ball would hurt you.
You sound like a commie.
Yeah, Jim, get the fuck out of here.
I'm a drug dealer.
System bullshit.
I'm a drug dealer.
My grandfather didn't die, so you could spout your fucking kilogram nonsense.
Did you see like the last like track accidents they had on here? It's like once every 10 years this happens, it feels like.
Well, I remember seeing a video of the javelin sticking into a guy's shoulder.
I think that guy survived. That guy survived.
It just didn't hit any organs, but it's like freaky.
Remember in the Revenge of the Nerds, Lamar had that sick javelin that was like air resistant. That was awesome.
Because the AP article, it's like this one happened this week, and then it said fatal accidents to track and competition are rare. It's like a hammer killed a student in 2017, and then a shot put ball killed someone in 2005.
Take this call. Can I?
What do you mean you gotta take a call? This is the sports hole.
I know, but I got it. It's important.
All right, you take the call. I'll wrap up the show.
I love you guys.
All right, we'll see you, man.
Bye, Maddie.
I love you guys.
Jim, anything to add before we get out of here?
Just go watch the UFL. I'm hoping to see a Super Bowl commercial.
Okay.
I'm hoping to see a Super Bowl commercial. Also, like
coaching moves. What's the Super Bowl on this year? What network?
What network? That's a good question.
It's got to be Fox, right? I think because Brady's calling.
Super Bowl. Oh yeah, Brady's calling. That is Fox then.
Right.
So then, they're on Fox.
Affiliated with Fox? Yeah.
It's co-owned by Fox and ESPN.
And they've had good commercials, when XFL.
They've been good
during the Super Bowl last couple of years.
So I'm hoping to see that, and also I'm ready for coaching stuff to be done. The offseason of football is less hectic than like NBA, where it feels like people care more about the NBA in the offseason than during the season.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. There's bigger moves in the NBA, and one player can impact a lot more in the NBA.
I'm also very ready for college basketball and to start watching that. Like hard. I've caught a couple games. I've been kind of watching it, but I'm ready to like get in on college basketball hard.
It's funny because Michigan has like a whole new team and a whole new coach, and they're doing pretty good. They've had a couple fuck ups, but
Nebraska's on a bad slump right now. It was fun to watch at the start of the season, and now we're back to being.
Do they still have a small Japanese player?
No, Keisei's gone. You're the second person to ask me about that. Yeah,
well, that was the only thing I remember about.
Tominaga was the team. He was the lifeblood, but no, they don't have him anymore.
And Hoiberg's still coaching them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's good. I don't know. I don't know what's Nebraska's basketball history what's their best year they've ever had.
Maybe last year.
Really?
Maybe sometime in the 90s. They've never won a tournament game, so.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Yeah, we're like the only power conference team to have never won a tournament game.
I did not know that. That's fucking insane.
Because I think Northwestern won one like 4 or 5 years ago, but we have never won a tournament game.
That's fucking
wow.
So
whatever year that we win an NCAA tournament game, that will be the best year in school history.
Okay, but you guys did go to the dance last year?
We went, but we got creamed by Texas A&M last year.
Oh, okay.
We went.
How are they doing this year?
It's not good. Not good right now. We're on like a 6-game slump.
Oh.
Real bad right now.
Real bad.
It's scary hours. Probably not going to do good in the Big Ten tournament either once that comes up.
Well, I like the Big Ten tournament because it's always like that's your last hope. You still get one fucking Hail Mary, like doesn't matter how bad the season was.
Yeah, let me check right now the slump that we're on. We're 12-8, so not good. Yeah, so we played UCLA. We beat UCLA January 4th. That was a great start to the year. And since then, lost at Iowa, lost at Purdue, lost versus Rutgers, lost at Maryland, lost versus UCLA, lost at Wisconsin.
Wow. Well,
and the loss at Wisconsin, like a couple of those are close. Like right. Purdue's not close. Iowa was close. It was 10 points. Rutgers was 3 points. Maryland was 3 points. USC was 5 points. Wisconsin, though, the team kind of just gave up. We lost by like almost 30 points. It's sad times right now. We still have Illinois and Oregon coming up. And Oregon's ranked 16th, Illinois is ranked 18th. So not a good time right now.
Well, I got something that'll cheer you up. Got some breaking news.
Ooh.
Brittany Griner has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Atlanta Dream.
When does the WNBA season start?
I don't know. That's funny. When did it end? It ended in it's like kind of a summer league, isn't it?
Well, it starts with because they get like what was the whole thing we talked about with Caitlin Clark getting like very few days, like super little time off.
So maybe it starts like in February because like
they do literally here it is. They do the draft is April 14th, so like right after March Madness. Training camp begins April 27th, and then May 16th till October. The playoffs begin September 14th.
Wow.
So that sucks for college players.
Yeah, no, she rolled right into that season, and then she didn't get picked for the Olympics, so she's like, finally, I got some days off here.
I wouldn't want to get picked for the Olympics if I were like a college player.
No.
You go right from college directly into like the WNBA. That sucks. That's awful.
Yeah. The Fever should have got Griner. They need like a badass,
They do.
Someone who will just enforce for Caitlin.
I got one other stat before we go. Matt is not here, but Patrick Mahomes versus Vic Fangio is 9-0.
Shit.
So
what is that? He was the Broncos coach, right? Like,
yeah.
I wonder how many games they played then, and then how long's Fangio this first year on the staff?
Yeah, because he's with the Dolphins for a little bit.
Right. Okay.
Patrick Mahomes also 13-0 in domes.
Wow. Those are good stats, Jim. You're the new statistician here.
I can be.
Researcher. All right. I got to eat.
I also have to eat something.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next week for another exciting edition of the Sports Hole.
Sports Hole.